Hare Krishna, Gurave Gaurachandaya, Radhikaya Tadaraye, Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uttapada Kamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadutam Parjana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakandritamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tatta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishabhano Sute Devi Pranamani Hari Priye Manchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivajadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Nama Eva Kevalam Kaulam Nasteva Gatyaranyatam Jayate Namananda Rupam Murade Vinamita Nirja Dharma Dhyana Pujadiyatam Katamapi Sakridatam Muktinam Praninam Yat Paramamritam Ekram Jivanam Bhushanam Me Maduram Madurepyopi Mangalepyopi Mangalam Pavanepyopi Hare Nama Eva Kevalam Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Jaiva Dharma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's book, which is very famous, well known amongst the Vaishnavas. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and his Goyamati established that the devotees who have joined the Madh, they should read this book. So there are some devotees who newly joined. So this book, Jaiva Dharma, is about Jivka Dharma, about the religion of the soul. That is the meaning of Jaiva. Jivka Dharma, the religion of the soul. That refers to Sanatana Dharma, Nitya Dharma, Paro Dharma, Vaishnava Dharma. So the word Dharma usually means religion. So Sanskrit is a very rich language, and one word can have different meanings, and sometimes for one object, or just like for the sun there are many names, like Ravi, Surya, Bhaskar, Aditya, and so on. So Dharma means a religion, also means the nature of something, vastu, just like water. So what is the dharma of water, the nature of water? It is liquid, it is flowing, and usually when we think of water, we think of sweet water which we can drink, and we use for bathing or for cooking, bathing ourselves, cooking. Very important, water. So, Dharma means also constitutional position of the living entity. That is devotional service to Krishna. Jivara so poi Krishnera nityadas. So the Swarup, the constitutional position of the living entity, Krishna Nitarasis. To be the servant of Krishna, the eternal servant of Krishna. So here, in the first chapter of Jaiva Dharma, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining, or is writing about one devotee who has come to Braj, who has come to Navadvip, and taking shelter of a Vaishnav there, Premdas Babaji Maharaj, who stays in Godrum, one of the islands of Navadvip. And so he's asking question, actually that Vaishnav who came, he was a sannyasi, and first he had some impersonal conception of the absolute truth. He studied Sanskrit, he became a scholar in Varanasi, Benares, and so took sannyas. But then by good fortune he met some devotees who were doing Harinam Sankirtan, chanting Dhoni names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He became attracted to them. And he wanted to find out more about the Vaishnavas. And so he came to Braj, and so he met some Vaishnavas, but then he also understood and came to know that the Vaishnavas in the age of Kali, they are devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is actually non different from Sisirara and Krishna. So therefore he came to Navadvip, to Mayapur. At that time, Mayapur, Navadvip was very much well known. And many great scholars used to come there, study the scriptures. So that was just after Mahaprabhu's appearance. So this Babaji, Premdas Babaji, was a disciple of Pradumna Mishra, Pradumna Brahmachari, an associate of Mahaprabhu. So staying there in Godrugrit. And as we know, Mahaprabhu, he performed these wonderful pastimes in Navadvip. He appeared in Mayapur. But then he was going through the different deepas of Navadvip, chanting Dhoni names, meeting devotees, discussing Krishna Katha. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also had come to Mayapur Navadvip, and specifically he also stayed in Godrumdvip, Sananda Kunj. And nearby he had a place also where he was doing his research, finding out, trying to find out the appearance place of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The place is still there, known as Sananda Sukhada Kunj, where the Samadhi of Bhaktivinoda Thakur is situated. And from there he had a vision of the appearance place of Mahaprabhu. From there, across the river, Jalangi River, Mayapur, and with the help of Jagannath Das Babaji, so he went there and taking reference from the scriptures, from the nets of Navadvip, and so then Jagannath Babaji, he confirmed that this is the appearance place of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Godavadip is very beautiful, as described here also. And those who have been to Navadip, so they can experience the beauty of Navadip and the different dipas there, and especially Godrum, at least myself also. I'm very much attracted to beautiful Godrum Dip. Of course, especially it has significance because Bhaktivinoda Thakur stayed there and discovered Mayapur, the appearance place of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there. So there, this Sannyasi Thakur, he approached this Babaji Maharaj, Premdas Babaji Maharaj, and asking questions in regards to Dharma. So the first chapter is entitled The Eternal and Temporary Dharmas of the Jiva. So different kinds of Dharma are there in this world that we can practically see. So even amongst the followers of the Vedic literatures, amongst the Vaishnavas, that can be seen. So, and therefore he is specifying eternal Dharma and temporary Dharma of the Jiva. Nitya Dharma and Namitika Dharma. Nitya means the eternal Dharma. Vastav Dharma, real Dharma, Parodharma, Sanatana Dharma. So which refers to devotional service to Krishna, the Supreme Lord, in pure love. Namitika Dharma refers to occasional, temporary religion or religious principles. Just like in daily life, so we have different activities to perform. Some which we do every day, that is known as Nitya Karya. Like every day we take bath. Paradha Snan, that is absolutely required for a devotee, for a practicing transcendentalist in any sampradaya. They will perform that. And the Namitika Karya, that means occasional activities, especially for the householders, the different samskars, marriage ceremony, that is once in a life, hopefully. Usually according to Vedic literatures, we get married once, and that's it, that's all. And no divorce. The word divorce is not there in the Vedic literatures. Prabhupada used to say, when he saw some of his disciples also, they got married and that they want to separate. So Prabhupada used to say, no divorce. No. Of course, for anyhow, whatever. But sometimes due to circumstances, sometimes there may be separation. Or then some also naturally it may be there. So then those who are highly qualified and also after Grihastha Ashram, they may then voluntarily separate also. The husband will take sannyas. But otherwise usually no separation. So, and then if one is married, then usually children are expected to come, but should be family planning, usually, according to Vaishnava principles, not by chance. And that is known as Garbhadan Samskar. And then once the woman is pregnant, the wife is pregnant, then for the benefit of the mother and the child, different samskars are there. Simantanayan samskar, Pumsavana samskar, Shivantayana samskar, Jatakarma samskar, and so on. And then when the child is born, giving the name, Namkaran samskar. When the child, the boy, or the girl is 5 months, then Annaprashanam, giving first grains for the boys in the 6th month, and so on. Then Vidyaramp, the beginning of the studies. And then bestowing the sacred thread, Upanayan Samskar, to the boys. For the Brahmana families when they're younger, or as when they're a little older, and so on. So these are called as Namitika. And then even Varna Ashram, for example, that is known as Namitika Dharma. So Krishna is to be in the center there also, but that is not permanent situation of the Jiva. Now we may be in a man body, and then we may be acting as a Brahmana or Kshatriya, so being engaged in different duties, or being brahmachari and they're getting married, and vanaprasanya, so vana ashram, that is Naimittika Dharma, and so on. So that has to be performed also, but ultimately we have to engage in devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So that is explaining in this chapter, first chapter. And then, of course, in more detail, and just which we have explained, we have gone through. And then in the second chapter, the Nitya Dharma of the Jiva is pure and eternal. So that is an important consideration also. So there's pure devotional service which has to be performed, which may not be immediately performed, because the Jiva, the conditioned soul, is conditioned, is still under the modes of material nature. Unwanted things are there in the heart, anartas, kalmash, impurities are there. So one has to become free of that. So one has to perform devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master. And then sincerely follow the instructions, and then we may be elevated to the position of pure devotional service. So the actual Nitya Dharma is pure, it is eternal. Two kinds of jivas are there. Nitya Siddha Parikar, Nitya Mukta, they are eternally liberated, eternal associates of Krishna. They are known as Nitya Siddha. They're Siddha, they're perfect since time immemorial. So by the Lord's will, that is explained in this same book here. Also, this actually has been explained by Mahaprabhu. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is an associate of Mahaprabhu. And in essence, writing about the literatures, or the essence, giving the essence of the literatures of the 6 Goswamis who were empowered by Mahaprabhu to write transcendental literatures and reveal the lost holy places of Krishna in Braj, where he performed his pastimes. So, Dashamula Tattva, 10 essential truth. Das, Mool Tattva. Mool means the root, Tattva, transcendental truth. So there he has explained that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Amnaya Prahatattvam Harimeha. Razabdim. So The Vedic literatures have explained that, and the absolute truth is Sri Krishna and is a reservoir of all transcendental pleasure. And then explaining about two, Vivinangsha Tattva, separated parts and parcels of Krishna, the Jivas. Some are liberated, Nityasiddha, and some are conditioned, Nitya Bhava, since time immemorial. So those who are liberated since time immemorial, they are always engaged in Krishna Seva. They were always engaged, and they will always be engaged, and they will never fall down, not possible. The Nitya Bhava also, by nature, eternal service of Krishna, but they are conditioned, spiritually conditioned since time immemorial. So when a material world is manifested, they come to this world. First they are spiritually conditioned since time immemorial, and then they come into the material world and they are materially conditioned under the modes of material nature. But by the mercy of Hari Guru Vaishnava, they will understand their true nature. They can understand by the mercy of Hari Guru Vaishnava. And then they may engage in devotional service and they may become perfect. And once perfect, then they will be able to enter Krishna's pastimes, and then again, also, they will never come back to this material world. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, that once one is going to the spiritual world, then one will not come back again. Yadgatva, what is it? The brain is getting rusty, old age. As you know all these verses anyhow, but verses are there. Janma kama chame divyam evam yoviti tatvadaha. Tyaktva deham puna janma naiti mamiti, so Arjuna. So we will not take birth again. So a few verses are there. Yadgatva, what is it? I can't remember now, but the verses are there. And Bhagavad Gita, once one will go there, one will never come back again. In conditioned state. Once liberated, one is always liberated. Very simple. Right? Yes, but still not everyone can understand. But if one is fortunate, he will understand. And the acharyas have explained. So very wonderful book. Very important book. So, and then, so he's explaining more specifically about Nitya Dharma, which is pure and eternal. And then he's explaining again a little bit more about Naimitika Dharma, occasional religious principles. Naimitika Dharma is to be relinquished. So we have to follow one ashram, but it is secondary. And the different forms of religion are there. And there may be stepping stones for one to advance more. That has to be said. But ultimately they have to be relinquished. Just like even now you can see different kinds of religions. Christianity, the Muslims, and we respect them, and also given by great personalities for time, place, and circumstances. But they don't give full information of the absolute truth in all details. And therefore also they're engaged in religious activities, but it is still on the bodily platform, mostly. Although they know about the soul also and the Supreme Being, so which is known as Sambandha Gyan, but they are not fully engaged directly in the service of the Lord because of insufficient knowledge, insufficient guidance of the representative of the Lord. Sri Guru, Sadguru, Krishna Kripa Srimurti, who is the manifestation of the mercy of Krishna, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Balram, Srimati Radharani. So after explaining about Namitika Dharma and that is has to be given up, is going back to Nitya Dharma again. And explaining that Vaishnava Dharma is Nitya Dharma. Vaishnava Dharma, so that means those who understand that Krishna or Vishnu is the absolute truth and that we are the servants of Krishna or Vishnu. They are known as Vaishnavas. Vishnave Namaha. So they are surrendering to, or they are engaged in devotional service of Vishnu. They are known as Vaishnavas. Vishnu is four-headed form of the Supreme Lord residing in the Vaikuntha, the spiritual land. But it may refer to Krishna also. Everything is coming from Krishna. Etecham sakalapumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Sayam. Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only Krishna can be addressed as Swayam Bhagavan. Only Krishna is addressed as Swayam Bhagavan by those knowledgeable in the scriptures. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is no different from Sri Radha and Krishna. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahayanya. It's Krishna himself, but we came with the luster and the mood of Srimati Radharani. Radha Bhava Duty Savitam. No, Krishna Sarupam. So there are four sampradayas, Vaishnava sampradayas, those worshipping Krishna, Brahma, Madhva, Gauriya Vaishnava, as Mahaprabhu has explained. In Parakya Bhav, worshipping Radha Krishna and Braj. Of course, Dwarkadish may be respected also, and Mathuresh. But the original Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna and Braj. And then those who are worshipping Narayan or Ramchandra, they are in the Sri Sampradaya. Sri, God is of fortune, the beloved of Vishnu. So, she has given knowledge to some great personality, and that Ramanujacharya is famous, and Yamunacharya. And then Nimbarka Sampradaya, and that Sampradaya, four Kumaras are there, because even Narada Muni is there also. He's in our Sampradaya and even that Sampradaya. And actually Narada Muni is respected by all the Acharyas in the four Sampradayas, just like Vyasadeva also. And the four Kumaras, they got knowledge from Hansavatar, and even of course they are the sons of Lord Brahma. Hansavatar, the swan incarnation. And then the fourth Sampradaya known as the Rudra Sampradaya, Lord Shiva, having received knowledge from Krishna himself and then has given to many persons divine knowledge. Yatha Vaishnava Shambhu, therefore sometimes is addressed as the greatest Vaishnava. So the sannyasi Thakur had approached Premdas Babaji. So that is shortly after Mahaprabhu's disappearance. The scene is there in Godrum, and he's asking questions and he's giving relevant answers, Babaji Maharaj. And then other personalities also came. And there was one, Lahiri Mahashai, who had come there also from Benares, and he was also interested in this transcendental subject matter. And said that Sannyasi Thakur was first a Mayavadi who became Vaishnava. He got initiated by Premdas Babaji and was known as Vaishnav Das. So then at one point, so he was asked to speak about Vaishnav Dharma, and he spoke, and then this Lahiri Mahashai, he was very much impressed. And he took shelter of that Vaishnav Das. And then he was staying also there, at the same place as Vaishnav Das and Prem Das Babaji Maharaj at Pradumna Kunj. So, fourth chapter Vaishnava Dharma is Nitya Dharma. It may be now Sampradaya, maybe the Ramanuja Sampradaya. So they are giving this transcendental knowledge and introducing the devotees in the direct service of either Krishna, Vishnu, Ramchandra Bhagavan. So this, here in the fourth chapter, Vaishnava Lahiri Mahashai, he went to Vaishnav Das's kutir. And so, at one point here, it is explained that he saw one snake, and so he was a little bit anxious. Because snakes, they can bite. Here in Switzerland, not many snakes, right? But in India, you see a lot of snakes. Now, even in Vrindavan, not so many, but when I first came, there were many snakes. In the Goshala, where I stay in Madhavan colony, many snakes were there. And poisonous snakes. And big snakes also. Like 8-10 meter big snakes. They can swallow the people. So then if you see a big snake, then you're a little bit anxious. And he was a little bit anxious naturally, but then Vaishnav Babaji said, don't be afraid of snakes. You depend on Krishna. And Krishna will protect. Also it is mentioned in Braj that anyone who is worshipping Giriraj Govardhan, he will be protected from snakes. Giriraj Govardhana ki. And Namaste Girirajaya Sri Govardhana Namaya Shesha Klesha Nashaya Pramanam Padani. Your obeisance to Giriraj, whose name is Govardhan also. Ashesha Klesha Nashaya. Difficulties will be there in life. From the body, from the mind, from all living entities, natural catastrophes. But if you are surrendered to Krishna, then we are protected. It doesn't mean that no difficulty will be there, but it will be there, but we are protected. So by Krishna himself or Krishna's devotees like Giriraj, Ashesha, Klesha, Nashaya, unlimited difficulties can be destroyed. Taking shelter, and we can see practically in Vrindavan. So many persons take shelter of Govardhan, and then they are greatly benefited and blessed. Here we are in Switzerland, externally. And at the same time here we are sitting in one devotee's house, Padavallabha, wonderful devotee, you know him since a long time. Very beautiful place in Langenthal, Switzerland. Nice weather, the sun is shining, a little colder than India. I was in Vrindavan yesterday. 45 degrees in the shade. during the day, and night time 30, 31 degrees. And now here I arrived, first in Germany, and then I saw 6 degrees in the morning. And Zurich, Switzerland, 4 degrees. But now the sun is out and it's maybe 20 degrees. So it is pleasant. The sun is shining, but it's cool. So, and nearby 2 little ponds are there, so we are remembering Radhakund and Shamakund. Hills are there, we are remembering Govardhan. And very green and many trees, wishful filling trees. So we remember Braj. And truly nearby is a temple also. Gauritai. And Jagannath Baladev Subhadra there and Radha Kant. So Gauritai means Navadvip is there. Jagannath means Purushottam Kshetra is there. And Radha Krishna, that is Braj. And here in Babaji's place, Pranavallabh, we have beautiful Gauritai. And there's one little Govardhan Shila. And there's one Shaligram Shila. What's his name? Madan Gopal. Jai. You know Madan Gopal in Braj also. And of course, Madan Gopal became known as Madan Mohan also. Yeah, Madan Gopal is there. And the Shila also Madan Gopal.
Yes.
And the deity also there, Madan Gopal.
This is my small Gopal.
Small Gopal. Yeah. Okay. Gopal. Yeah. And the devotees are there. Madan Gopal Das. Where is he? Where is he, Madan Gopal? Is he? He was in Indonesia also, right, for some time.
Yeah.
But he's here. So wonderful devotees are here in this place. So yes, here. If one is surrendering to Krishna, one will be protected. So, regarding the snake, so Vaishnava Das Babaji explained to Lahiri Mahashai, it is senseless to agitate the mind over such matters about the snake. You must have heard the story of Maharaj Parikshit in the Srimad Bhagavatam that we heard there. He gave up all fear of his impending death by snake bite and with an unflinching heart drank the nectar of Harikatha from Sri Sukadev's mouth. Thus he tasted supreme transcendental bliss. A snake can never bite the chitta deha. So the snake cannot bind the soul, of course, because the soul is transcendental, and neither the subtle body, chitta deha, but only the material body. So Parikshit Maharaj, he gave up all fear of his impending death by snake bite, and with an unflinching heart drank the nectar of Harikatha from Sri Sukadev's mouth. Snake can never bite the chitta deha. The only snake that can wound the spiritual body is the snake of separation from topics of Sri Hari. The material body is not eternal, and one will certainly have to give it up someday. As far as the body is concerned, we should simply perform the karma that is necessary to maintain it, and nothing more. When the body collapses by the will of Krishna, it cannot be saved by any kind of effort. But until the designated time for the demise of the body has arrived, a snake cannot harm a person even if he's sleeping right next to it. So many examples are there also, the scriptures. Haridas Thakur, he was doing his bhajan, chanting the holy names, and there was a snake there, saw in a cave. But he was not affected, and he was protected by Krishna. But then other people, they were afraid of the snake, and they were hesitant to see Haridas Thakur. But then Krishna, in the heart of the snake, told the snake, you go somewhere else. And the snake was going somewhere else. So the devotees, they could go and see him. Adbhut Krishna, Adbhut Leela of Krishna, wonderful pastimes of wonderful Krishna. Therefore, one may not introduce himself as a Vaishnava until he gets rid of his fear of snakes and all such things. So Vaishnava is very humble. He doesn't say, I'm a Vaishnava. I'm trying to be a Vaishnava. Because it is not so easy actually to be truly a Vaishnava. In the same book, he's explaining 3 times of chanting the holy names, 3 times of Vaishnava. One is Shuddhanam, chanting Shuddha name, the pure name. He is known as Shuddha Vaishnava, pure devotee. Shuddha name is chanting Hare Krishna and saying Krishna, Krishna's. Because Krishna name are not different. So we see Krishna's beautiful form. Hare Krishna. He's saying Krishna's form, his qualities, his pastimes. Krishna will manifest. That is Shuddhana. And that is a Shuddha, pure Vaishnava. If he's not chanting Shuddhanam, then it is a semblance of the name, Abhas Nam. And that Vaishnava is called as Abhas Bhakta, a semblance of a devotee. So, but chanting without offenses, that is already quite good. That is known as Abhas Nam. And one can feel to some extent the presence of Krishna. But still, it is considered Abhas Nam, the semblance of the pure name. A semblance of the Vaishnava. And he was chanting, but some offenses are still there, which is natural in the conditioned state, and one is called the Prakrit Bhakta, materialistic devotees, and that is Apararanam, chanting with offenses, so that is to be avoided. So not easy to be truly Vaishnava. Prabhupada used to say, first you become a gentleman, or by the way, a gentlewoman, and then you can be a Vaishnava. So we're trying to be Vaishnavas. If the mind is agitated by such fears, how will one be able to fix it upon the lotus feet of Sikh Hari? So one should certainly stop being afraid of snakes and trying to kill them out of fear. So anyhow, sometimes some people in India also, it is mentioned in scriptures that snakes are envious beings. And scorpions also. And it is mentioned, so they may be killed, because otherwise they will harm others. Snake, even you walk and then the snake may be there, even you're not crossing his way, but he may just bite you, and the scorpion also. So therefore they may be killed. And there's no cynical in that. Otherwise, killing even animals, that is sinful, should not be done. Of course, sometimes in India mosquitoes are there, and they're teeny, but sometimes you're bitten by them and then you get malaria, dengue fever, chikungunya, and then you have to struggle like anything. I got chikungunya last year, I'm still a little bit struggling. After 9 months, it's sometimes the effects of pain and discomfort stays for years. Especially those who are a little elder, those who are younger are more quickly recovering usually. So therefore, usually we try to chase them away, the mosquitoes. But sometimes we just involve. Because, yes, anyhow. I aggressors, they may be killed, although this mosquito is a small aggressor, but still. But otherwise, if a thief is coming to the house, you may defend yourself. Because sometimes the thieves are killing the people also, if they are obstructing them. So therefore you may kill an aggressor, and there's no sin according that. Lahiri Maharaj said with some faith, as a result of hearing your words which are just befitting a sadhu, my heart has become free from all kinds of fear. We have already read that, but we're just, for those who have newly joined, so a few devotees just yesterday, today. So we're reading just shortly. Again, I'm explaining a few words. So we are on the same page. Now we understood that one can obtain the highest benefit only when the heart becomes elevated. Many great souls who are engaged in the worship of Bhagavan live in the mountain caves, and they are never afraid of the wild animals that live there. Rather, out of fear of materialistic association, they are giving up living with other human beings, and they live among the wild animals instead. So that is mentioned in scriptures also. Better to be living among snakes and tigers than materialistic persons of this world, envious persons in this world. So therefore some people, they go to the forest, or they go to the holy place away from materialistic persons, so they may just engage in devotional service. And it is mentioned that actually some persons, they're so nasty and envious, they're considered to be more dangerous than snakes and tigers, so they should be avoided by all means. Babaji Maharaj said, when Bhakti Devi, the goddess of devotion, makes her appearance in a person's heart, that heart automatically becomes elevated. So we have to try to engage in devotional service, so then Bhakti Devi, the goddess of devotion, may appear in our heart and may help us. Of course, by the mercy of the Lord and the mercy of the Vaishnavas, devotion towards the Lord may develop. Actually, devotion to Krishna is already there in our heart, but it is dormant in seed-like form. Our Swarup, our true nature is there, our relationship with Krishna is there. It's not something which is given, it is already there. But the consciousness has to be purified by being in the association of elevated souls who may help us understand our spiritual nature, our relationship with Krishna. So love is already there, but it is not manifest. But by engaging in devotional service under proper guidance, then it will manifest. Then he then becomes dear to all jivas. Everyone, devotees and non-devotees alike, feel affection for the Vaishnavas. And that is why every human being should become a Vaishnava. So we should try to have a good relationship with all the Vaishnavas. With any person, a Vaishnava, he has love for Krishna, he has love for everyone. Of course, then one has to act according to time, place, and circumstances. One is avoiding the snakes, one is avoiding the tigers, and people who are just like snakes and tigers, we try to avoid. But we, and then try to have a nicer relationship with everyone. And even if somebody is not nice to us, but then we are tatastha, we are neutral. We are not for them, but we are not against them. Because we see the Lord in everyone's heart, and we see that everyone ultimately is a servant of Krishna. But due to the Muslim material nature, somebody is more devoted and somebody is less devoted, somebody is atheistic. But by nature, everyone is a eternal servant of Krishna. As soon as Lahiri Mahashai heard this, he said, "You have awakened my faith in Nitya Dharma. It seems to me that there is a close connection between Nitya Dharma and Vaishnava Dharma, but so far I have not been able to understand how they are identical." So the Lahiri Mahashai, he had heard about Nitya Dharma and Vaishnava Dharma, but he did not understand that they are the same. Vaishnava Das replied, "In this world there are two different dharmas that go by the name of Vaishnava Dharma. The first is Shuddha, pure Vaishnava Dharma, and the second is Vidha, adulterated Vaishnava Dharma." So there's pure Vaishnava Dharma and there's impure Vaishnava Dharma. So pure means one is following purely, one is in pure consciousness, and one is not yet pure, then it is not pure. So very simple, but so that is explained a little further. Although Shuddha Vaishnava Dharma is one, in principle it has four divisions according to Ras, or taste for serving Bhagavan in a specific loving mood. Dasya, servitude, Sakya, friendship, Vatsalya, parental affection, and Madhurya, conjugal love. So that is specifically referring to Braj Dham, to devotional service in regards to Krishna and Braj. That is four relationships are there. Whereas in other places like even Dwarka, to some extent it is there, and the conjugal relationship, parental affection, and friendship. But it is not as accomplished as in Braj, it is not as pure and perfect. Because in Dwarka there's the mood of, or the understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And therefore, these relationships may be thereof, but mostly this is a relationship that we are the servant of Bhagavan the Lord. And some friendship is there, but it is not as accomplished as in Braj. Same with the parental and conjugal, the queens of Krishna and Dwarka. They are pure, but their love for Krishna is inferior to the love of the gopis in Braj. In reality, Shuddha Vaishnava Dharma is one without the second, and it is known as Nitya Dharma or Paradharma. In the Shruti Shastra Mundaka Upanishad, we find the following statement: Yad vigyate sarvam idam vigyatam bhavati. Everything becomes known when one understands that supreme truth clearly. Yat, that refers to the Supreme Lord. Vigyate sarvam. If one knows the Supreme Lord, one knows everything. If one knows Krishna, one knows everything. In essence, if we know that we are servants of Krishna and we serve Krishna, then we are perfect and complete. Kipa vipa kipa nasi sudakainaye Krishna tattvavita say Guru Hai. One may be a Brahmana, one may be sannyasi, or even one may be a Shudra, which is to be considered a lower caste. But if one knows Krishna, then one can become a spiritual master. But one should know Krishna in truth. Veti tattvataha. One who has direct experience of Krishna, realization of Krishna Roop, Krishna Swarup, Krishna's beautiful form, his qualities, his pastimes. One could see Krishna, Krishna's form and pastimes. So he's a pure Vaishnava. He may be not the greatest scholar, but if he has love for Krishna, then he's accepted to be a pure Vaishnava, and then he can deliver order also. Whereas if one is not pure, doesn't have no direct realization of Krishna, that pure love for Krishna, that even though he may be a great scholar, but he cannot be an empowered spiritual master. So purity is most important. Direct experience of Krishna and oneself, Atma Sakshatkar, Krishna Sakshatkar. And then one will understand things clearly. Who is who and what is what. And then he can help the conditioned soul. So this statement pertains to Vaishnava Dharma, to Shuddha Vaishnava Dharma. The full importance of this will gradually be revealed to you. So we are getting knowledge that is known as Jnana. But that is not sufficient. But one has to engage in devotional service, then one will get Vijnana, realization. Even Krishna told Lord Brahma and Chatushloki, the four original verses of the Bhagavatam, which he spoke. Jnanam param guhyam me yad vijnanam samamvitat sarasya tat jnanam param guhyam me yad vijnanam, what is it? Sarasya tadangascha. So jnanam param guhyam me. So this knowledge is most confidential. Vijnanam samanvitam. I'm giving this knowledge, and included in that actually the Vijnana is there, the realization. If I say that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. So you got this knowledge, we are spirit soul. So in that, the realization will be there also. Sarasya dangascha, but it's a rich secret. So how we can realize? Not simply by hearing. But then you have to engage on the anga, the limbs of devotional service. You have to chant holy names, you have to serve the deities, you have to hear more and more about Krishna. Then you can realize, but especially Yuga Dharma is the chanting of the holy names. So we have to chant the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then you serve the deities under these instructions of the spiritual master. And then Krishna Nam. And then the deity you're serving. And then you hear about Krishna and his wonderful pastimes, and then they become one. And then you chant Krishna Nam, then you can see Krishna, you can see his pastimes, his qualities. So, but without hearing and without serving the Lord, you cannot realize the Supreme Lord, and neither can you realize yourself. If you're not serving the Lord, you cannot realize yourself fully. You may have theoretical understanding, I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul, but that's not sufficient. But then you have to realize. But even the Mayavadis, they're realizing they're not this body, but they're spirit soul, but they don't have proper knowledge. And they want to merge in the absolute truth, in the Brahma Jyoti, the effulgence of Krishna. So that is not complete. They don't have the complete understanding, and they're not engaged in devotional service. So they cannot have the full realization. Only those who are engaged in devotional service, chanting the holy names, hearing sufficiently, by the mercy of the Spirit Master and Krishna, Guru Gauranga Krishna, they can attain perfection, Sarup Siddhi, and realize their transcendental form and realize the Lord's form. And after giving up the body, they can get Vastu Siddhi. They can enter the pastimes of the Lord. But first you have to realize yourself, your spiritual form, your service, your relationship with Krishna. And then where Krishna performs his pastimes, there you can enter the pastimes And then he will be there in Golok also. And then no more coming back to this world. Unless Krishna comes, and Krishna comes regularly, he's always there in the material world, in different universes. And those who are coming with Krishna, the eternal associates, they're also not conditioned. So we may enter Krishna's pastimes, and then, if Krishna wants, we may be here also, but then in liberated state. There are two types of adulterated Vaishnava Dharma. One is adulterated with karma, karma vidha, and the other with jnana, jnana vidha. So vidha means adulterated. So therefore sometimes we say karma mishra bhakti, jnana mishra bhakti. So bhakti, but it is mixed with the desire to get something in the result from karma, from one's activities. Sometimes also known as karma yoga. So, but then there's separate karma yoga when one is having some understanding of the Lord, but is one simply interested in performing one's duty according to the scriptures, and then getting good results, and then dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So doing some religious activities, but then more interested in the result, the gain, and then engaging in some sense clarification. But then those who are little knowledgeable, they know we have to give that up, and then we have to try to be liberated. But better to become engaged in pure devotional service, prema pramartamaha. And then we can quickly attain perfection. And then jnana, so those who are intelligent and they are studying the scriptures, but they are not yet engaged in devotional service. In pure devotional service, only some lip seva. So that has to be given up. All the practices that the orthodox brahmanas, smartas, uphold as Vaishnava Dharma are actually Vaishnava Dharma adulterated with karma. This type of Vaishnava Dharma entails initiation into Vaishnava mantra by Vishnu. Now, this type of Vaishnava Dharma entails initiation into Vaishnava mantra. But Vishnu, the all-pervading Lord of the universe, is only treated as a constituent part of the process of karma. So sometimes some people are initiated by Vaishnava mantra, but then they are still more interested in doing their activities, whatever it may be, and then getting some good result. And that practically we can see that also, it may be there. So pure devotional service actually not so easily achieved, but at least one should try one's best to advance more and more, have the proper understanding, and then try to perform pure devotional service. Anyabhilashita shonyam jnana karma navritam anukulena krishna anuchiranam bhakti uttamam. Uttam bhakti, pure devotional service. Anyabhilashita shonyam. Jnana karma navritam. You should not be covered by karma, by engaging in activities and just being interested in some result or even gaining some knowledge, but then not actually trying to always be engaged in pure devotional service. Anyabhilashita sunyam. Should not be covered by any other desire. Anukulina Krishna Anushilanam Bhakti Runtamam. Anukuli should be favorable. As Krishna wants, Krishna Anushilanam. But I want to do this or I want to do that. And may Krishna help me fulfill my desires. And in India, sometimes you go to the temple and they pray Jai Jagadish Hare. Jai my Lord Jagadish. Please give me a nice car. Please give me a nice wife. I need this or I need that. So that is not pure devotional service. But pure devotional service is serving Krishna as he wants us to serve him. And not expecting anything in return. Krishna Anushilanam as Krishna wants. Favorable for Krishna's desire. Krishnendriya Priti, to satisfy Krishna's senses, not Atmendriya Tripti, not to satisfy our senses. So Anyabhilashita. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained why it is there. Why not Anyabhilash, any other desire, free from that. Shunya. He's explaining ties to just to emphasize that sometimes, in some rare circumstances, somebody may approach the Lord. Please save me. Just like Draupadi, the example is given. Associate of the Lord, pure devotee of the Lord, the wife of the Pandavas. So you're not asking anything from Krishna, even the Pandavas. They didn't complain to Krishna, hey, this Duryodhana and these people, they're trying to kick us out, they kicked us out. We cannot do something, you're Bhagavan. No. They just thought, well, it's Krishna's desire. Somehow, anyhow, you have to accept. Ishwaram yad karoti, shobham eva karoti. Whatever the Lord does is auspicious. It is auspicious, it is good. There's one nice example in this connection. So we will tell. So, Yudhishthira, he lost everything. There was a gamble of dice. And a Kshatriya, he should not refuse. If the enemy is saying, I challenge you for a fight. And the Kshatriya cannot say, no, I'm not fighting with you. No, he has to say, yes, I will fight. If one is challenged to play a game of dice or chess, he is playing chess also, then the king cannot say, no, I will not play. Otherwise he's considered a coward. So he played, Yudhishthira played, he was okay, he was good. But Duryodhana, he engaged his uncle Shakuni, who was a cheater. He was playing expertly, but he was cheating also, somehow. And Yudhishthira, he lost. He lost everything, the kingdom himself. So he lost himself and the Pandavas, so that means his wife, Draupadi, was also then lost. So Duryodhana then asked his brother Dushasana to bring her here, in the assembly of everyone. So she was in her contaminated state, period, which the women get. She was not supposed to go in the assembly of great sages or to go to the temple. That was not allowed. Even those who are strict nowadays, they don't do, the ladies, if they're contaminated. By tradition. Of course, you have to see time, place, circumstances. But still, he went there, he took her. And she was saying, no, I cannot go. And she was not properly dressed, the hair was open, because she was, in this condition. Contaminated condition, so then they just simply relaxed. Because it is a painful thing also, and one has to be relaxed. Of course, for some it is more painful than for others, for the women. And he brought her there in front of all the kings and even the elders, Bhishmadev, the Acharyas, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, they were there. Because they are on Duryodhana's side, they were just putting their heads down. And she was appealing to them. I'm in this condition, and please, you do something. They were just putting their head down. And the Pandavas, they were ready, Arjuna and Bhishma, they were ready to take the sword out and fight. But Yudhishthira said, just calm down. And then Duryodhana told Dushasana, you take her sari away. And she was trying to hold, but a woman is usually less strong than a man. and she saw that she was not able to hold the sari, and he was stronger. Then she called out, Krishna, Krishna, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. And Krishna was supplying the cloth. So in a helpless position, he was calling out to Krishna, Krishna, please help me. So that is no fault in there. Therefore, anyabhilashita sunyam. No abhilas, no desire for oneself, even for one's own protection. Unless there's some circumstance like this, that one is then spontaneously calling out Krishna. To whom else to call out? She could not call out to Yudhishthira and Bhimasen, because they lost the game. So she called out to Krishna, and Krishna helped. So that is permissible, that is all right. That is still pure devotional service. So one has to engage in pure devotional service. That is the point here. So that is not so easily achieved, pure devotional service. Many times one is engaged, but still material desires are there, anattas are there. But nevertheless, one should continue, and one should pray to become free from these anattas, from these impurities. And then one will become free eventually. Just a matter of time. Utsanischa darya tattakam pravatanat. Sangatyaga sato-vrite sadve bhakti prasiddhati. Okay, it is getting late. Here it is 5:20, but here it is 8:45. So we just finished this paragraph. Vishnu is actually the superintendent of all the devatas, but in this system he is regarded as being only an aspect of karma and subject to its laws. In other words, the conception is that karma is not subordinate to the will of Vishnu, but that Vishnu is subordinate to the will of karma. Of course, that is easily understood for a Vaishnava. So one should be serving Krishna or Vishnu without any ulterior motive for their satisfaction. Okay, we stop here. And next class is Thursday. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, you can. Done? Is it done?